So, welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News and Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs in a very short span of time within 30 minutes so that you get to cover your current affairs on a daily basis and you don't have to spend your entire day just reading the newspaper. Now, just spending these 30 minutes watching this lecture would be job half done, okay? Because just after watching it, you need to revise it as well. Why? Well, revision helps in consolidating these current affairs in your memory, otherwise you'll quickly forget them. Now, you can revise these current affairs from the notes provided by us, and these notes are shared on our Telegram channel. The link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section just below this video. Okay, let's begin today's session, but first, let's take a look at the list of topics that we shall cover today. So here's the list. Number 1 in this list is monoculture of rice and wheat. In India, there is this problem, especially in North Indian states of Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh. Well, farmers grow rice and wheat. These are the two dominant crops. Rice in the season, wheat in the Rabi season. And this is known as monoculture of rice and wheat. And this has created a lot of problems. Now, why aren't farmers going for crop diversification? Why aren't they growing other crops? Well, we'll investigate this. Then, as you guys must have heard about this in the news, that IMF recently released a loan to Pakistan, despite India's objections. Okay? Now, what is this program under which IMF is loaning money to Pakistan? Okay? And why did it loan that money to Pakistan? Okay? What was the reason for loaning this money? We'll talk about this. Then, Commission for Air Quality Management recently released 19-point action plan for stubble burning. As you all know, during the winter months, due to stubble burning in the farm fields of Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh, well, there is a lot of air pollution in the national capital region and areas around it. Okay, so what is this 19-point action plan that will be enforced during the October-November months? We'll talk about this. And in the end, we'll talk about a Soviet-era spacecraft which was launched in 1972, and the mission failed. But some debris from that spacecraft was still floating around the Earth and will now fall back to Earth. Okay, so what is this entire issue? What was this Soviet-era spacecraft? We'll talk about this. Okay, so let's quickly discuss all these topics. These are not that important topics, okay, but let's quickly discuss them. Okay. Topic number 1 is monoculture of rice and wheat. So rice and wheat are the most preferred crops, more so when they have access to basic irrigation that can supplement natural rainfall. So rice and wheat are the most favored crops among farmers, okay, especially in areas that have good irrigation facilities. Now the main reason for that is guaranteed procurement by government under MSP. Though Government of India declares MSP for 22 crops, okay, but it has a special relationship with rice and wheat. Okay, yes, government declares MSP for 22 crops, but government provides guaranteed procurement from farmers at MSP when it comes to rice and wheat. For other crops, MSP is declared, but there is no guaranteed procurement. And because of this guaranteed procurement, well, farmers prefer growing rice and wheat because they are assured of good returns on their produce, right? But this news article basically makes an argument that the reason why more and more farmers favor rice and wheat is not just MSP, okay? There are other reasons as well. What are those other reasons? First of all, government's emphasis on research in seed development, okay, whether it's Indian Council of Agricultural Research and many labs associated with it, whether it's agricultural universities, most of these research institutions have focused on better seed development for rice and wheat. Yes, they have focused on other crops as well, but their majority focus has been on rice and wheat. A few days back, we discussed that ICAR released 2 new hybrid varieties of rice, right? So rice and wheat are the favorites of these research institutions also. And because of that, because of focus on seed improvement, the yield of rice and wheat has increased. So farmers think that number one, they are getting MSP, assured returns. Number two, the seeds that they are going to get are advanced seeds and they will increase their yield, right? So this is the problem. Then government has also provided in some areas good irrigation facilities, which are basically they create a conducive environment for rice and wheat, because rice requires a lot of water. Okay. Plus, the other reason is low focus on research and development when it comes to other crops. Other crops haven't received the same extent of agricultural research and development support. So this is the reason. Okay. Now the thing is, I use the word monoculture. So what is the meaning of the word monoculture? Okay. So monoculture is the cultivation of a single crop species or variety in one season in a field or a farming system. So if you grow one crop, single crop, one season, in one season you grow only one crop in a particular area, that is known as monoculture. Now in India, generally monoculture is performed or monoculture is practiced for rice and wheat. Okay, rice during Kharif season, wheat during Rabi season, winter season. Okay. Now, the advantage of monoculture is that it allows for efficient farming practices, farmers who can afford specialized machinery, uniform planting, harvesting, good technological equipment, okay, higher yields. All these things are the advantages of monoculture. In fact, all those people who can afford these high-tech farming products, okay, perform monoculture. Clear? But it has a lot of disadvantages also, because monoculture harms crop diversification. And crop diversification is important for your soil fertility. So disadvantages of monoculture of rice and wheat is environmental challenges such as soil degradation, pest and disease buildup, because you have to use a lot of pesticides and fertilizers, and then these pests become resistant to those pesticides. Plus, a lot of chemical fertilizers are used in monoculture, which again harms soil fertility. Clear? So these are the disadvantages. That's it. Now let's quickly shift our focus to the most controversial news, at least in India, and that is IMF's loan to Pakistan. Now, the executive board of IMF approved $1 billion of loan to Pakistan. Now we have discussed executive board couple of days back. Okay, executive board contains 29 directors. Okay, 25 directors. One of these directors is the managing director. Now India has a executive director. Basically, these are known as executive directors. Okay, and one of these executive directors is the managing director. We have discussed this. One of these directors was from India. And despite the fact that India basically raised its strong objections against this decision, the majority vote went in favor of Pakistan. Okay. Now, the thing is, it was reported that the Indian executive director abstained from voting. Now, many people were thinking, why didn't he vote no? Why did he abstain from voting? The thing is that in IMF, either you can give a yes vote or you have to abstain. That's why India abstained. So this is a small minor point that you need to know. You cannot vote no. You either can vote yes or abstain from it. Okay. Now this loan of $1 billion which was provided to Pakistan was part of a series of loans that are being provided to Pakistan under extended fund facility. Okay, this 37-month extended fund facility was approved on September 25, 2024. Under this extended fund facility, Pakistan would be given $7 billion. Within this $7 billion, few days back, Pakistan was given $1 billion. So this was the latest tranche. Clear? Now the total money that has gone to Pakistan from this $7 billion has been $2.1 billion. Clear? Now the question for us is, okay, or the important thing for us to remember is, what is this extended fund facility? Okay. So extended fund facility is a facility that provides financial assistance to countries who face serious balance of payment problems. And the reason for their balance of payment problems is structural weakness in their economy. Now, what constitutes as structural weakness? Okay, maybe they have inadequate physical infrastructure, skill development education infrastructure, high debt, poorly developed financial system. These are all indications of structural weaknesses, and we all know Pakistan suffers from all of them. Okay, now the purpose of extended fund facility. Okay, the purpose is to provide money to the country who is undergoing a crisis. Okay, these people, this country will use that money to conduct structural reforms. Okay, so this money is given to conduct structural reforms so that the economy of that country goes back on track and they are able to return back this loan. So the aim is to help countries implement medium term structural reforms. The EEF offers longer program engagement and longer repayment period. Okay, and because IMF knows that structural reforms require a lot of time and they yield results after a very long time, therefore this loan is also for longer periods of time. Okay, Pakistan will have to return this loan after a very long time. Clear? The purpose is so that structural reforms are conducted in that country and that country gets back on track. Okay, now, despite India's objections, and India raised this objection saying that Pakistan uses this money to fund terror or build up its military. They are not using this money to do structural reforms, they're using it to build up their defensive posturing. Okay, despite this fact, IMF voted in favor of Pakistan and IMF gave reasons also. IMF said for the past 1 year, Pakistan has been conducting structural reforms. Its economy has been improving a little though, but has been improving. Inflation has come down and some good things have happened. Therefore, we are ready to give this money to Pakistan. Okay. Now, why was Pakistan eligible for this extended fund facility? Okay. Why was Pakistan eligible for this facility? Well, because Pakistan was suffering from a crisis. Okay, that is why Pakistan was asking for a loan under this facility from IMF. So, what were the economic challenges that Pakistan was facing? Stagnant growth, high inflation, high debt, and many other problems like population growth, low savings, low investment, all that. So, because of these things, Pakistan was facing balance of payment crisis, and it went and knocked the doors of IMF, and IMF basically agreed to give Pakistan this bailout under this EEF facility. That's it. Okay. Now let's quickly shift to third news item, which is 19-point action plan for stubble burning. So, Commission for Air Quality Management has released a 19-point action plan to stop stubble burning, the issue of stubble burning in the fields of Punjab, Haryana and Western UP and other states neighboring the NCR region. Clear? Now, within this 19-point action plan, there is one point which says that there will be a Parali protection force launched in the states of Punjab, Haryana and Western UP. And this Parali protection force will basically keep a watch whether a farmer is burning this stubble or not. Okay, they are basically there to monitor whether farmers are complying with this ban on stubble burning. Make sense? Now, about this Parali Protection Force. So, Parali Protection Force will be made up of police, agriculture and civic officers to closely monitor, oversee and guard against stubble burning. Now, in its order, the CAQM called intensified patrolling by enforcement agencies during late evening hours, because it is said that farmers prefer to burn their stubble during night time so that they are not detected by satellite monitoring system. Okay, so this Parali Protection Force would monitor them at night. Farmers who will burn straw risk red entries in their land records. So in the land records maintained by patwaris in India, okay, well, the land records of those farmers would have red entries. That means they would be fined. Okay, yeah. Now, as far as other points in that 16-point action plan is concerned, well, you don't have to remember all of them. That is why I'm just focusing on Parali Protection Force. Now, another thing that you need to know is what is this CAQM? Okay. CAQM, the full form is Commission for Air Quality Management. So what is the CAQM? So remember, it is a statutory body. Now, if it is a statutory body, then definitely it was formed under a law made by Parliament. That law was Commission for Air Quality Management in NCR and Adjoining Areas Act. Its functions are better coordination among different state governments, like coordination between Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, Rajasthan, UP, research on pollution, identification of causes of pollution, resolution of problems surrounding air quality index, and for matters connected to all these things. The Commission is required to coordinate its actions on monitoring air quality in Delhi and adjoining states. Okay. Now, as far as the membership of this commission is concerned, it's not that important. Like everywhere, it has a chairperson appointed by Government of India, and it has various members. Most of them are IAS officers. Okay. So what you are trying to become, maybe sometime in future, you would be the chairperson of this body. You never know. IAS officers are given a lot of roles. This is one of them. Okay. And now let's talk about the last news item of the day, and that is Soviet era spacecraft crashes back. So, piece of Soviet era launched more than 50 years ago. Soviet era spacecraft launched 50 years ago is expected to crash back to Earth. Now, this Soviet spacecraft, when it was launched, it was known as the Cosmos 482 mission. And the purpose of this mission was to go to Venus, to study Venus. Okay. Now, this mission was unsuccessful. It failed because of some technical problems. Most parts of that mission, well, they fell back on Earth within a decade. But this one part, which was around 500 kg, kept on floating and orbiting around the Earth. And slowly, it was crashing back into the Earth. Okay. So it was orbiting the Earth and slowly it was coming close to the Earth. Okay. And now it has fallen 50 years after its launch. Clear? Now, that is what was in the news. But what is this Cosmos 482 mission? Okay, let's talk about this. So this was the mission. This was basically a part of series of missions. So this was just one mission. Under Soviet Union's Venera program, they launched a series of missions to Venus, to study Venus. Okay. Well, Venera is the Russian name for Venus. So Venus is called Venera in Russian. So this mission was part of a series of probes that the erstwhile Soviet Union launched under Venera program during Cold War to explore Venus. Under Venera program, the country sent 28 spacecrafts to Venus between 1961 to 84. And why did Soviet Union was so interested in Venus? Well, back then in 1960s and 70s, it was believed that because Venus has very thick clouds, maybe it harbors life. Okay, so the main purpose was to search for life on another planet. And the second purpose was, which is the purpose for every country, technology demonstration, to demonstrate Russia's power, Soviet Union's power, that it can launch an interplanetary mission. Okay, that's it. That would be all. And with that, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I'm sure it has added value to your preparation. But like I say this every time at the end of the lecture, it will add more value if you spend another 15-20 minutes revising this lecture. All right then. On that note, I'll be signing off with the promise of seeing you again with another set of news items. Thank you, everyone.